How are you both?
Yeah, good.
Good, yeah.
Have you met Lara?
I don't
I've
think...
seen you before when you've been playing, yeah, but not properly spoke to you, so...
I was going to say, I've not met you, I've not had a conversation,
No.
but I've seen you on stage as well. Introduce yourselves.
Well, I'm Trevor, the drummer in Active Slaughter. It's actually our 25th year this year, which is surprising if nothing else. Yeah, and this is Lara.
Yeah, I'm Lara. I'm also in Active Slaughter, just started. Yeah, and we're here to talk about the benefit album that we've got to raise money for a family in Gaza. So yeah, it's a second album that we've bought out, a download only from Bandcamp, and it's to raise money for a family who we were made aware of through our friend Craig from Bristol Punks. He's got to know them over quite some time now. He's been raising money for them, and we thought Trev actually thought we'd do another download only album, and yeah, it's got 70 bands on it, and quite a wide range, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not
music.
Yeah, quite a varied selection.
Yeah, so we've got kind of our kind of punk, so like, you know, kind of like anarcho punk, got a bit more sort of hardcore, got a bit of ska.
It's basically, I just asked a load of bands, basically, and anybody who offered anything got on it. It wasn't exclusively punk or anything like that. It was anybody who wanted to contribute to it. So, yeah, that's why there's a selection, basically. Yeah. To be fair, most of it is just punk.
Yeah.
Yeah. But there are a few anomalies, if you like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it was just a case of some people wanted to be involved, so I let them be involved. Yeah, it's the second one, and as Lara said, it's download only. So far, it's doing pretty well. We've raised about 1,100 quid for it, but that's not quite what they receive because Bandcamp take their cut and PayPal take their cut. The first one was for a specific family that Lara knew. Lara used to teach the dad. So I'll pass you over to Lara.
All right. Oh dear. Yeah, so I lived in Gaza for a few years. When I started, I've always known about what's been happening there because my dad's from Lebanon, so I was brought up with the Lebanese Civil War and the Israeli occupation and things like that. Then the second Intifada started, and I was older then. The internet was just quite new as well then, and so I got quite active then, and I ended up going to Gaza. Thought I'd go there for about 6 weeks, and I stayed there for I'd say about 5 years. I was an English teacher there with an American NGO, and I kept in touch with a lot of my old students, but one in particular, one family, we just stayed in touch with for years, and I've watched their children grow up as well. And so it was a man. He was in went through all of the levels that we taught, and his daughter used to come and bring me chocolate and sit on my knee in the classroom. She's now must be about 30. And she's a broadcaster. She's just brilliant. And they had their house bombed, and they went from house to house, and through, staying with relatives and things, and they finally, their house, I think it was the house next door, was bombed. It killed all of the people inside, families inside. The building they were in collapsed, and the daughter had a severe leg injury. Her little brother was trapped under the rubble, and her dad had a severe back injury as well. They managed to get to a hospital, but even back then, and this was like kind of near the beginning actually.
Yeah, it was quite new.
Even back then, the hospitals were really, really stretched. I have to say that this isn't a new thing. The infrastructure, the aid and everything else was, they were saying before 2023 that Gaza was going to be unlivable. And so when October the 8th happened, it was just kind of like the straw that broke the camel's back, really. So they were in a hospital, just couldn't cope with all the people coming in needing treatment. Her dad was sent home in a back brace and really should have been kept in hospital. They were sheltered at the hospital. They had nowhere else to go. So you had whole families living in the corridors. Eventually, the daughter was told that she could be medically evacuated to Egypt, but only her mum could go with her. So she had to leave her dad and the two brothers behind. It was at the point where they were allowing people to get out of Gaza, but it was costing thousands of dollars. And the family on the Egyptian side who owned the kind of visa sort of place, and I think the crossing, I wasn't sure how it worked, but it was a family that owned it, were basically taking advantage of the situation and just making it like, I think it was, what was it, $5,000 per person?
Yeah.
So we were raising money for that so we could reunite the family. And we raised money through the album, and then we raised money through different organisations as well. And we managed to get the oldest son out, and it was just in time. So to get out, you had to have someone there to kind of apply for the permission, you see, for someone in Gaza to get out. So it was really complicated, and it all had to be done quite kind of quietly, with naming no names or anything like that, because people were getting targeted by the Israelis as well at the crossing. So we had to keep it really, really quiet as to who it was for exactly. He got out and he managed. They said there was no more people were going to be allowed to come through from Gaza. He managed to, at the really 11th hour, managed to get permission for his dad and his other brother to come to get through. And he really I think they were the last people to be given a permission to cross. And then it was basically, they then managed, the dad and the older brother managed to get through at the very, very end. I mean, it was like, yeah. we were having like a nervous breakdown at this end. It was like, oh my God, are they through yet? It was horrible, just trying to get them through. Right. They managed to get through. The daughter is still having operations. She couldn't walk. She had an infection that went into the bone of her legs as well. But she's managing now to walk, and she's doing a bit of broadcasting work as well, which is brilliant. And the thing is, it's really difficult. You want to help people to get out, but they shouldn't have to get out. Because they know that they're not going to go back home. And bear in mind as well that many families in Gaza are refugees already. They're not from Gaza originally. They were from, one of the villages. I think there were 500 villages that were ethnically cleansed and just destroyed, wiped off the map in the Nakba in 1948. So they're already refugees, and some people the generations of their family have been living in refugee camps. So, they've had hardships already, and then they're out. They get survivor's guilt. They've left family and friends in Gaza, and they've left their life behind. And in Egypt, you're not allowed to work. If you're Palestinian, you're not allowed to work in certain jobs. There are lots of restrictions as to what rights you have. Same goes for Palestinians in Lebanon as well. So, it's not an easy kind of fix almost. It's they're happy that they're safe, but there's a lot going on, like say survivor's guilt and everything else really. So it's just, I don't know, it's you could sit here for hours saying exactly what's going on over there and how difficult it is for people and animals as well there, and a lot of it doesn't get reported as well, or obviously there's a lot of biased reporting in the media. So you do have to kind of choose where your information comes from, and if you can speak to people who are actually there, then you get to know exactly what the situation is, and not just what the BBC chooses to tell you. So when I lived there, I remember we would have incursions most days and it wouldn't make the news. One day we were being bombed by land, sea and air, and it didn't make the news. I rang home just to say I was okay, and they were like, why? Nothing's on the news. I was like, oh no, it was really like they're bombing the crap out of us. Like I said, this isn't a new thing really. This has been going on for 80 years or more actually. So but yeah, that's it really. It's just a very sort of worrying time, and I think people are getting through day to day, and it's like thank God I'm we're safe or whatever for a day, but then there's a whole future kind of coming, and with Donald Trump and Tony Blair of all people.
The thing is,
charge. It's just like
when we were doing this new album, it kind of dawned on me that we're sending this family money, and it's good, obviously, but once that money's finished, that's it. It's not like they can go out and get a job and they get next week's wages or anything like that. That's it. Once the money's gone, there is no more. So
yeah, it's it's very difficult because obviously they're not allowing aid in. The environmental impact is just obscene, really. I mean, I've actually written it down, but it said from October 2023 to April 2024, 70,000 tonnes of bombs were dropped, and that was more than Dresden, Hamburg and London in the whole of World War II. And it's equivalent to 6 Hiroshima bombs, basically. Like I said, it was the infrastructure before 2023 was kind of, on its knees, really. More than 2 million people in a very, very small area. It's, and I've written this down as well because I'd forget, Gaza Strip is 25 miles long and between 3 and 7.5 miles wide. for over 2 million people, and you don't get just how packed it is until there's a high point in the east, and it's right by the border of Israel, and you can look down onto Gaza City. And I remember going there and looking, and it was just unbelievable just how tightly packed all the buildings were together. And, you know, this is buildings with families in, and they're just dropping bombs, you know, using drones to kill people.
And it's half now, isn't it?
They've taken
that area's now half.
Yeah.
So
I was trying to find some up-to-date kind of statistics, really, especially about like the hospitals and things like that. The only thing I could find was there's around 2,000 hospital beds available for more than 2 million people. There's a shortage of ventilators and incubators for babies, so they're having to share incubators and equipment. A lot of hospitals don't have running water. The electricity is just, you know, pretty much non-existent. It was bad before, you know, they were rationing the electricity.
Yeah, it's 3 hours a day or something.
Yeah. And they do things, and they used to do it when I lived there, you know, they would, you know, on purpose, sort of, they'd target a water like desalination plant, because there's no drinkable water in Gaza. It's too salty, so you have to buy water from a man in a van. So the Israelis would target the plants, and they would target the power stations and things like that on purpose, you know. And they can't say that anything is an accident, because they've got the best technology when it comes to, you know, arms and things. So they can't say that, oh, you know, we're sorry for firing over 300 rounds of ammunition into Hind Rajab's car, the little girl who, you know, was stuck in a car with her dead relatives, you know. And they just can't, they keep lying, basically. And of course now this is all documented on social media, so, you know, it really is being recorded in real time, yet they still lie. So they lied about burying ambulances that were trying to get to, you know, people who had been injured or killed. They lie about everything. And I think as well, I think now, and I've seen this quite, other people on social media say it quite a lot now, you do judge people now as to their kind of stance on Palestine, because it's all there for you now. The information's out there. You can't, you know, you can't dispute it. And if you're of the kind of party that kind of says, oh, well, yeah, but what about October, and oh, it's all Hamas and blah, blah, you're either really, really stupid, or you're just like a horrible racist person, because who supports a genocide, and because it's all there. You can't dispute it.
Although the social media is trying to delete a lot of it.
Yeah, they do.
YouTube deleted loads and loads of stuff off their platform, and it's all being taken over by Israeli. Well, I'm not sure if they're Israeli, but billionaires, basically, who Zionist billionaires. They now own TikTok in America, and etc., etc., etc. It's just,
yeah, you can't, you just can't dispute it. It's you know, I mean, yesterday I was watching a video of a man who'd lost, you know, all his family, using a sieve in the rubble of the house that was bombed, trying to get the last remains of his family, so bits of bone, and he was using a sieve, you know, and it's that humiliation as well. They've always, even when, you know, it was supposedly peacetime. Well, it's never been a peacetime, but officially a peacetime. They've always kind of kept Palestinians just sort of there, you know, like under their thumb, just where they wanted. They give them a little bit. You can, you know, it's like, yes, build universities, you know, go to university, but don't think you're going to be let out of the Gaza Strip to go abroad to do a PhD or go abroad to work, you know. It's that kind of thing. We had restaurants, shopping. There was a shopping mall after my time. There was universities, you know, cultural centres, everything. But on the face of it, you could see, oh yes, you know, you've got this and this. Yeah, you know, in the night there'd be an incursion, and so the next day you're stepping over pools of blood in the street, you know, or they were closing off the border, so people would have to get permission from the Israelis to go into Egypt, and they get the permission, and then at the last minute they'd revoke it and stuff like that. You know, it's just this humiliation. They even worked out how many calories per day a Palestinian should have, and that was how much food that was allowed in through the border, and that was before any of this happened. That was daily life, you know. So this has been happening for a long time, you know. When I lived there, I rarely went through the borders because, you know, it gave me nightmares for weeks before, because they might not have let me back in, and that my life was there, you know. So yeah, it was, and I used to confuse them because I had an Arabic surname but a British passport. I went to Jerusalem once, I remember, and they wouldn't let me through the security kind of barrier thing, like the arches they had in one part of Jerusalem, because on my passport it says I was born in Wolverhampton. They didn't know where Wolverhampton was, so they wouldn't let me through. So I had to go the long way, which really pissed me off. But it was like, you know, who are you? Why are you here? You know, you got through the airport. You know, I was questioned for hours, strip searched. No. You know, just to get in and out. Yeah, and then on that fateful day in Jerusalem, I was sat having a coffee, and I only went to the Palestinian area of Jerusalem, and I just looked behind me, and there was an Israeli soldier just training his gun on me, just watching me, because that's what they do. They radio ahead, you know, they know exactly where you're going. They knew that one of the times I went, that's it, yeah. So I went first to Gaza for like a quite long visit, then went back to England to tie everything up, and then came back again to stay. And I nearly missed my plane to get back to the UK, because they knew what I was in a Palestinian taxi. They knew that I was approaching the airport. They stopped us, checked the car for bombs, you know, and then took me away for questioning. And it was just like, they know exactly who you are, where you are, what you're doing, everything. Yeah, but then they can still say, oh, sorry for killing that person. sorry for killing those foreign aid workers, you know, or, yeah, or bulldozing, you know, Rachel Corrie to death, and that kind of thing. It was a mistake, and they make no room for mistake. There's no need for mistakes, because they know that, you know, their technology, whether it's for arms or whether it's for just intelligence on people, is like the best there is, really. So so it's it just kind of sort of like, I don't know, leaves you a bit like kind of what the fuck, when they come out with shit like that, really, don't they? So I mean the family that this new album's for, they've got so it's a mum and a dad and 4 children up to 16 who've been really struggling. Their house has been bombed. I think they've used some of the money to repair one of the roofs.
The roof on one of the rooms.
Yeah, but the husband or the father of the family, he was attacked getting aid and I think he nearly died, didn't he? And I mean their stories on the kind of biog of the album.
So of course it's not just them. It's not just that one family. It's happened to everybody out there.
Yeah.
It so happens that we have a friend who knew a family in Gaza. That's the only reason this came about. But it's happening to everybody. There's nothing special about this family in that sense. Yeah. It's
hard. It is just putting a tiny, tiny little sticking plaster, really, on this. I mean, it's regardless of what people sort of, whether it's their religion or their politics, they have to see this as a human thing. And and I've said this a few times as well, I get really irritated when people go, oh, the people of Palestine are so resilient, and it's like they shouldn't have to be resilient. That shouldn't be what they identify as resilient. There's so much more to Palestinians, there's so much culture, the food, the language, the music, the everything, it was the best place I ever lived. I absolutely loved it, even though it was difficult and you saw things you didn't really want to see. I'm half Lebanese, but I actually preferred living in Palestine, in Gaza, than I did in Lebanon, because it was all a bit flash in Lebanon. It was like, but then when I went to live in Lebanon, that was when the Israelis bombed Lebanon for a whole summer. So
you, isn't it?
So no. When I said I'm coming back to the UK, they were like, no. So but and and it's not a Muslim versus Jewish thing. There are Christian Palestinians. Some of my friends in Palestine didn't really follow their religion, so it is just a Zionist against Arab thing. There are Christian Palestinians. The churches have been bombed. There are Christians. There are people who, like I say, don't really follow religion, because of course this is happening in the West Bank as well. You've got settlers in the West Bank doing all sorts of just disgusting things. People are in prison for no reason. Children are in prison for no reason. And I mean, even like I say, before 2023, I was reading about a little boy from Gaza who had cancer. I think he was probably about 5 or something, and they eventually gave him permission to go into Israel to get treatment, because the hospitals in Gaza just weren't equipped enough for him to have treatment. But they wouldn't allow his parents to go with him. So there was a little boy who was dying, had to go all the way, and go through checkpoints and everything, which is scary, it's horrible, on his own.
No.
And they managed to get, thankfully, and this is how brilliant, Palestinians, well, I think Arabs actually, it's the part of the kind of culture is you know, someone from over in the West Bank then, it's almost like a network, you know. It's like you put a call out, say, God, there's this 5-year-old little boy with cancer coming here on his own, and they all pulled together and they made sure that he had a surrogate family to support him there. But imagine being a mum or a dad and your very sick child is taken away from you, you know, for treatment, and you can't be with them. And that was before all of this, and that's what people have to, you know about. And I keep saying, you know, you have to educate yourself about all of this, because it's not a new thing. And this just happened. It was a long time coming. It happened because people had enough. I think 80 years of being under an illegal occupation and going through the daily hell, really. I think is going to piss people off after a while, and they are going to say no. And yeah, it's all been kind of like, I don't know, rewritten, hasn't it, to suit the Israelis.
Well, that's what they're trying to do, aren't they? They are trying to rewrite history.
Yeah. You know, you've got the Neturei Carter Jews all over the world who go to the demonstrations and, you know, hold up placards and things like that, you know, that say they don't, that basically Israel is Zionism, it's not Judaism. Zionism is a political ideology. It's not religious. Jews, Christians and Muslims and Druze were living in Palestine before the Nakba very happily together, because they were of the same ethnicity, just of different religions as time went on. That's all it was. It was when basically Palestine gave refuge to a lot of Eastern Europeans who were needing a safe place after the war, and yeah, then Zionism kind of, happened, but kind of took root, I guess, and yeah, Palestine should never have been chopped up and given away anyway.
By the British.
By the British, yeah. You know, and they say it was it a what do they say? Land? Was it a people without?
I don't know.
Land without people for a people without a land. That's it. I had someone like she class up. Yeah, so they say Palestine was a land without people for a people without a land, and it wasn't. The Nakba, you know, destroyed. They ethnically cleansed. They raped. They murdered. They shot people in the backs. You know, there's all of these first-hand accounts of what happened in the Nakba. There are the IOF soldiers who actually on video watched their accounts as well, saying exactly what they did, and they rampage basically through Palestinian villages, and then they renamed them, you know, to be Israel. So
what's happening now is just the combination of all of that now, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's the final purge, I think, to get rid of the whole of the Gaza Strip. I think it's go.
Yeah. That is what they want. When I lived there, they found a big oil field just off the coast of Gaza. So I think that's definitely a major player. And then they wanted to make the Suez Canal 2 ways, didn't they?
I think
the Gaza Strip as a kind of route to the Suez Canal, and just clear it basically. Yeah. I follow an animal sanctuary there, and who do brilliant work. They've been really struggling. It's just every part of life that you might not think gets affected. Now, there was no animal feed coming in, so they were starving animals. There were injured animals from the bombs, you know. I remember seeing a donkey that was really badly injured, and it was like one of those things, I wish I hadn't seen the video, because I couldn't get it out of my head. People are losing their homes. The family that we did the first album for, they had their pets killed because the house got bombed. I used to go up to riding stables in the north of the Gaza Strip. That was where a lot of the bombing was at the very beginning in October 23. And I'm guessing that they were killed, you know, all the horses were killed. It's something that you look back, when you know about what's happened, you look back and just think, like, what the fuck, how did that even happen? Then you're looking at what's happening presently, and again, it's like, how's this even allowed to happen? And then you think about the future, and I can't imagine how it's ever going to get better, because there are tons and tons and tons and tons of rubble, and there are people still under the rubble. So you've got just the kind of practically and logistically, how are you going to rebuild when there's so much rubble and there are whole families underneath all of that as well? And I'm guessing all the sewerage system, which was crap anyway, is damaged, and it's almost like having to rebuild a whole city from scratch, really.
And of course, Palestinians don't have access to heavy machinery or anything like that. So it's going to be the Israelis that are doing it, so they do it the way they want to do it. And yeah, it's all part of their master plan.
Yeah. Without kind of sounding like it's some kind of conspiracy master plan, it really is like that.
No, it's part of the master plan. That's what they want to do. That's how they're going to ethnically cleanse the whole of the Gaza Strip.
Yeah, they just basically want to clear it, keep people living in an absolute, I don't even know the word to describe their situation and their environment, and wait till they die, basically. You know, and that's it. People can't survive long term like that, and there are also diseases because they're living in such squalid conditions, and, you know, like say, there's no kind of sanitation there. The winters are really bad. I went there thinking I'd be floating around in a linen outfit, you know, all year round. And then I got there in winter, it was bloody freezing. You tend to forget as well, it's not just about people surviving injuries from bombings or whatever, you know, people have illnesses as well, you know.
And it's a psychological thing, obviously.
Yeah, of course, yeah, you've got the psychological impact as well, and yeah, you know, you've still got people who have got cancer or heart disease or whatever, you know, that they need treatment for and they're not getting it. Palestinian man who was one of the co-founders there, he's going blind now because he can't get insulin for his diabetes. And he's gone blind in one eye, and I saw a post the other day saying he feels like he's losing his sight in the other eye, and it's something that could be so simply avoided.
Yeah.
British surgeon as well, I think she's called Victoria Rose or something like that, and she's at the hospitals in Gaza, and she was saying they have got no equipment whatsoever, and there are people being, you know, having limbs amputated with no anaesthetic, and they're operating on children with no anaesthetic and things like that. And she said when they apply to get, you know, equipment come in, it's so complicated, so difficult. The Israelis want to know everything, and there are certain things that can't come in, and they make it as difficult as possible. You know, it's a really far-reaching thing. Like, what happens to the people, the aid workers, after this? You know, I'm sure psychologically, they've seen things no one would want to see. You know, it just kind of keeps going, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You know.
But we do have to say thank you while we're to all the bands who did
Yeah.
contribute. Because, like I say, I think people just wanted to do something.
Yeah.
They enabled them to do something, or even though it's very, very small
Yeah.
part of the whole thing. You know, people just wanted to do something.
Yeah, and it's, you know, you have to do what you can as well, because, you know, I'd love to send money to everyone that I see on Facebook and whatever, and I just don't have the money, but, you know, there are other things you can do, you know, go on a demo, share if you can't go on a demo, share things on social media, anything, whether it's wearing a t-shirt or whatever. You know, you don't have to put yourself out there too much if it's difficult. I know some people, you know, can't make
Not everybody can do everything, can they?
Yeah, but it's just doing what you can.
Yeah.
Buying Palestinian dates and olive oil and anything, crafts, you know, anything like that. If you see Israeli avocados in Tesco's, give them a really good squeeze, you know, to test their whiteness multiple times, and things like that. You know, put the Sabra hummus right at the back of the shelf, and you know, that kind of thing. And shop wisely. You know, you really do have to. You know, we're in Wales, and if I don't get my fruit and veg from Tesco's anymore, thank God. But when I used to, you know, I'd pick up a bag of carrots thinking, oh, it'd be local, and it was from Israel. And one day I did a very quick look on the farm that these Israeli carrots came from, and I found out, and it didn't take me long, it took about half an hour online, found out that this carrot farm was on a settlement, and I looked back at the history of that, and you know, it was like they come across as, oh, nice Israeli carrots, but actually you look at where they've come from and the actual land they're sitting on, and that it was ethnically cleansed, you know, then don't buy it. You know, it's simple as that. And certain medication comes from Israel. It has a UK license holder, but it's an Israeli company. So if it's called Teva, Teva, you can ask your doctors for it to not be from that company. I do it for medication I'm on. There are lots of different things you can do, you know, just kind of don't buy into it. I know, obviously, Google, Amazon, Facebook, you know, yes, they're obviously got interests in Israel, but there are certain things that, unfortunately, you kind of have to use, you know, but there are other things that you've got the choice, and you just don't have to buy it. Just like what we did with South Africa, you know, apartheid South Africa, it's the same thing. I don't know why people can't equate the two, but some people find it quite hard to do that.
And also, if you're vegan, this is a process you've gone through anyway, finding alternatives to food, to that thing. And when it comes down to it, it's actually not that hard. It's just taking the time to actually look into these things. Like I was saying about the Israeli stuff, look into it. Where's it from? And you know, who's actually supplying this and stuff like that.
It's important.
My contribution to it. See, this is why I'm a drummer, because I sit at the back and I don't do fuck all, I just sit at the back.
The album, though, I was going, oh, that's good. But you were harassing people with songs, so that's good. And you did the artwork as well, so yeah. So like I said before, we've all got our place in all of this, everyone can do something really, and I think now as well it's getting, there's you've got arseholes, Reform UK and whatever, but people, I think more people are supportive of Palestinian and Lebanese human rights, because they've been bombing Lebanon as well and killing people in Lebanon, and it really is indiscriminate killing as well. It's not, given all their technology, it's not kind of always targeted. It was just drop a bomb on that neighbourhood type thing. So yeah, it really is just that fundamental thing of being a decent human being, Yeah, doing whatever you can really to support, like I say, Palestinians and Lebanese and Syrians. It's their joy spreads far and wide. The Israelis. It is just.
So buy the album.
Or give us your fucking money. And please bear in mind as well that Bandcamp and PayPal like their cut, so be generous.
Yeah. Actually, some people have been really generous. It has to be said. Some people,
they have.
But you do get people that just give 50p.
Yeah, and we get about 7p out of that. So.
Yeah. The average is about 10, 15 quid. So,
which
people are generous.
Yeah, it's not bad for 70 songs.
70 songs, that's down.
No, that's really good.
Brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a bargain. Whatever the sum given, it's not what the family receives, unfortunately, because people are taking their cut along. So the more you pay, the more they get, basically.
Okay.
When I lived there, I'd say I was well looked after. I loved it there. I'm still 20 years later. I'm still in touch with people I knew there. They're the nicest. Yeah, you get some horrible people like you get in any society, in any country, but on the whole, they're the nicest, most welcoming people. They just don't deserve it, No one does, really. No one deserves that. But yeah, it's and it's a beautiful place. Well, I say it was a beautiful place. Packed full of people, but it was just lovely. And through this, it dawned on me one day, and it really hit me that the place I remember's gone. There's no way I can go back because it doesn't exist anymore. And so you start grieving you do go through like a grief process of the place that you knew and the place that you loved. I was sent videos of my old apartment block being bombed, and that was full of families, all gone within a matter of seconds. They gave them, I think it was something like 10 minutes warning or 20 minutes warning to get out. And what do? you can't take stuff with you. You've got 10, 20 minutes. There were no lifts in that building, so if you're on the 8th floor, you've got to run all the way down the stairs,
So get away from it.
Yeah, you've got to get away.
Just stand outside.
And yeah, I got sent a video, and it was already damaged anyway. But yeah, it was all gone within, like I say, within seconds. And so I can, in my memories, I'm kind of walking through the streets and I'm going to the places that, in my head, and it's like, bloody hell, it's not there anymore, and that really does hit you. And obviously I'm very thankful that you know, I was safe when I was there. I had a few near misses, but I was safe when I was there. But so me losing my, the places in my memories is nothing compared to what some people go through. But it's still, like I say, you still grieve, for a place that...
Loss, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that. When they were bombing Lebanon, I was told by the embassy or something that I could leave Lebanon the next day. I'm allowed to take 2 bags with me, and we don't know where you'll be going. You'll just be going on a boat. And I'm like, well, I'm not going. I live here. This is my home. And I've got a dog. I'm not leaving my dog, And so, and I thought, well, why should I leave? Like, why should I have someone telling me that I have to go, and I can see why people will want to leave because of the situation there. But I also understand that people shouldn't have to leave their country, Obviously, yeah, it's their choice, but it shouldn't be the only choice. It shouldn't be the only thing that ensures their safety, is that you have to go. You should be able to live where you were born or live where you want to live.
It's just heartbreaking, isn't it? And there's just so much that you don't know, like, as well, and the stuff that's happening out there. I see videos that, because I'm friends with Craig as well, so I see like the videos that he posts online.
Yeah.
I don't think you, as you said, you don't know the full extent of it. You really don't.
You don't. I mean, I remember when I lived there and I had the misfortune of, it was one New Year's Eve, I had the misfortune of being sat next to a BBC journalist. He ended up getting kidnapped, Alan somebody or other, Scottish bloke. And lots was going on then. They were breaking the sound barrier every day with the jets flying over. So people were having miscarriages, heart attacks, windows were getting blown out. Also, it was to terrify people basically. And they'd closed the border with Egypt for like weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks on end. And there were people needing to get out for medical treatment and stuff like that. There were women giving birth on the roadside, waiting to be able to go through and all of this. And I remember saying to him, why aren't you reporting on this? You're here, swanning around in his 4x4 and his paid for apartment and everything else and going to the best restaurants and all of this. And yet nothing was being reported. It wasn't online. He wasn't doing anything. And he just turned to me and said, well, it's just not newsworthy. And I just, really lost my rag. And he also said, because I was teaching English there, and he said I was trying to educate the uneducatable. So I really laid into him there.
I bet you did.
And then when he got kidnapped, I was just like, oh, well, never mind. Yeah, he's out now, and I think he's kind of milking it for all it's worth. I think he might have written a book as well about it or something. But
he might be in it.
Might be. That bitch, he spoilt my New Year's Eve. But yeah, it was horrible. And it was just like, I'm there ringing my family saying, I'm fine, this is what's happening, blah, blah. And they're like completely, they know obviously what it's like there. But I mean, they were oblivious to most of the stuff, didn't get on the news at all. And then when it does get on, it's so biased, because it's the BBC, that you might as well not bother. So yeah, it is all down to, journalists in Gaza who are getting targeted, who are getting killed because, they're telling the truth. It's so important to just share on social media. Don't worry that people are going to get pissed off with you and fed up because all you seem to post about is Palestine. If they don't like it, then
Scroll on by.
you know, bugger them, you know, like bollocks to them. If they don't like it, then that's fair enough. They don't have to stick around to read it or watch it. But you know, it's our duty, just as decent human beings, really, to you know, to make their stories known. You know, we're very fortunate to basically not be living in that situation, so we have to do all we can, really, because one day down the line, many years to come, this is all going to be in the history books, you know, and you've got to
make sure history is written the right way.
Yeah, you've got to make sure it's it's written the right way, that these stories are known, and that you were standing on the right side, you know, and you know, you've done all you can, even if it's something simple like sharing a Facebook
or buying an album.
Or buying an album.
Research's important, yeah.
Songs on. That's it really. Just, you know, just be fucking nice. Just be a decent person. You know, and don't believe the crap that you see on some, you know, in mainstream media, because if you do, then, you know, I pity you, really, because no one needs to be so misinformed nowadays. It's all there for you. It's all being videoed for you. So, you know, you've got no excuses, really, I don't think, to not do something. So...
Thank you so much for today, and like, you know, talking about everything, and it's so important. I don't really know what else to say. There's not much I can say after all of that. Like, there isn't. There really isn't. You said it all.
Yeah, it's hard, isn't it?
Yeah.
The Hind Rajab Foundation has been set up. There's lawyers from all around the world, and activists that are trying to get the soldiers prosecuted for war crimes, and they're documenting, you know, they're kind of basically identifying them and documenting what they've done, and they're doing some really good work as well, so they're worth looking up, you know, because it's all they've got to be accountable, you know, for all of this, not just from October 23, but from, you know, 1948, before 1948. It has to, people need to be made accountable for all of this. So, I hope, even if it's my last day on this earth, I hope that there's some justice for, you know, everyone, the people, the animals, the land itself, because they've been suffering for nearly a century. So, but I always say evil can only continue for so long, but this has been a long time, and it needs to, you know, something needs to be done to for them to be made accountable, and you know, and it suits some people, doesn't it? They're brown people from a country too far away to bother with, you know. So who gives a fuck? And, you know, or conveniently now it's like, oh well, they're all Hamas terrorists. Well, this was happening before Hamas was in power, and Hamas were a political organisation, and they were voted in, and that's it. And before they were voted in, they were, you know, they had Yasser Arafat in a compound in the West Bank waiting to kill him, you know. He was held hostage by the Israeli army, and I remember watching it on the news live, and all the bulldozers and the tanks were getting closer and closer to where he was, you know, and so it's not, you know, saying, oh, it's Hamas is just, you know, it's crap. It's people being ignorant or just being, you know, nasty arseholes, basically. You know, this is not anything to do with any political party.
No, they're a convenient excuse, aren't they?
They are, yeah. And when people say that, I just think, God, you're thick. Because it's not that. And there's no excuse to even think that now, because all the information is out there. You know, educate yourselves on the history. You've got to know the history of anything, if you're gonna know anything about it, you know, and it's all there. You know, as long as you don't go to BBC or whatever for your information, you'll be fine. But yeah, you know, there's plenty of resources online, you know, and if some people, if they're not comfortable with getting the information from an Arab source, then there are plenty of Jewish or Israeli authors. There's Ilan Pappé, who did the ethnic cleansing of Palestine. He wrote that book. I've not read it, but I've seen people say how informative it is, and they've really understood what's, you know, the history of it all. And you do need to know what's gone on, to know what is happening now, and why it's happening, really. So yeah, but it's not the nicest subject to read about, but it's important, you know. So yeah, and you can read it while you're listening to the album.
Yeah.
Or both albums.
You can have it as a soundtrack.
Background music. So yeah.
Yeah.
So buy the album.
Which, yeah, I suppose we should say where you can get it from, shouldn't we?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just on the Active Slaughters Bandcamp. They're both the albums are there. So you just look up Active Slaughter on Bandcamp, you'll find them.
Yeah, and you could always as well buy the Active Slaughter album.
Yeah, the new Active Slaughter that's coming out very, very soon. Yeah.
So yeah.
Oh, you got a new album out soon?
Yeah, hopefully. It's coming out. Yeah, it's a 10-inch thing on Grow Your Own Records.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Should be. We've had test pressings, and so yeah, it's got to go back and get printed, pressed, and all. So yeah, it'll be coming out soon. But buy the other stuff. The other stuff's a lot better.
Oh, and also as well, the daughter from the first family that we helped, the one that I've known for a long time. So on the first album, benefit album, the Active Slaughter song, It's Not Anti-Semitic to Hate Fascists, has got an Arabic intro, and the daughter, she is the one speaking it. So she recorded it from Gaza, and sent it over to us, didn't she, when you were doing that album? Yeah. And so she thought it was brilliant that she's on this punk album, because punk is not her thing, but she thought it was great. So she's she loved it. But so she's on that. You might not, unless people know Arabic, they won't understand what she's saying, but it's basically saying that just the history, and saying that it is a genocide. Yeah. Even back then, actually.
That's right. That was before all this kicked off.
Yeah. So yes, I'll give that a listen as well. Right then.
Now then.
Okay.
See you later.
All right.
Bye.
Ta-da.
That was Lara and Trevor from Active Slaughter. We were the Punk Rock Creators Podcast. Thank you for listening. See you next time.